a divorced woman takes drastic measures to prevent authorities from imprisoning her son, who ended his father's life. Upon entering the church, Leyre confesses her wrongdoing to the priest, citing her involvement in the Bilbao killings. It all started when her ex-husband, Cosme, a businessman, came to collect his shotgun and golf clubs. He also gave her and their son Asier only 30 days to move out because he sold the house. In response, Leyre asserted they couldn't relocate because Asier finally made a friend at his new school. However, the businessman showed little concern for the teenager, whom he considered weird. Later, Cosme confronted Asier, who was absorbed in his origami. He criticized him for not being normal as he desired. The teenager listened to the insults, gazing back at his father in silent rage. While baking cupcakes in the kitchen, Leyre tearfully wished Cosme to vanish, feeling he was destroying her life. Suddenly, she heard a loud noise, later discovering that her son had ended his father's life using scissors. Though Asier ensured he wouldn't go to prison because of his age, the woman insisted on taking the blame to protect him. Suddenly, Cosme's phone started to ring. Learning that it was his current wife calling, Leyre opted not to answer to avoid arousing suspicion. As they moved the body, Asier noticed that the scissors he used had Leyre's initials. Because of this, they cautiously removed the sharp tool from Cosme's neck. Later, while the boy cleaned up the blood on the floor, he paused to answer his friend's call who wanted to sleep over. However, considering what happened, he felt compelled to decline the request. Next, Leyre and Asier placed the body in Cosme's car trunk. Asier then suggested that his mom devise an alibi to avoid being a suspect. She must be elsewhere during her ex's time of demise. Taking her son's advice, Leyre hailed a taxi heading downtown. She discovered the taxi driver was an actor and asked him for a favor. She instructed him to act as her boyfriend and meet her in the diner, which the driver agreed to. Leyre then entered the diner first. While the driver rehearsed his lines, she interacted with a couple, sharing that she was waiting for her husband. Soon, the actor arrived pretending to be her boyfriend. However, to his surprise, Leyre accused him of being a psychopath and threatened to report him to the police for following her. When she walked out, the actor explained to the customers that he didn't know the woman. Returning home, Leyre was surprised to see her son's older friend Hulen, who was there to do a school project. When the teenager asked if he could stay the night, Leyre took Asier aside for a private conversation. She scolded him for inviting somebody over, given that Cosme's lifeless body was in the garage. As Leyre tried to ease herself, Asier promised to help her move the car that night. In response, she reassured her son that her alibi was a success. However, Leyre fell asleep that night, forgetting to move the car out of their house with her son. The next morning, she rushed to the kitchen to find the boys, who seemed relaxed. As they left for school, she reassured Asier that she'd take care of everything. Meanwhile, corrupt lawyer Susanna held a meeting on behalf of Cosme, who was engaged in dubious business dealings. On the other hand, Vanessa called Leyre to look for her husband, as she knew they were supposed to meet the day before. Leyre lied, claiming her ex-husband hadn't shown up. Suddenly, she dropped the call upon seeing two movers entering her house. It turned out that Cosme had given them the key to empty the garage since he was selling the house. Despite her efforts to stop them, the men opened the garage door. The woman was relieved but puzzled upon seeing that Cosme's car was no longer there. Immediately, she contacted Vanessa again, feigning concern for her missing ex-husband. Later, Susanna comforted Vanessa, speculating that the anti-corruption committee might have arrested Cosme. However, the lawyer quickly ruled out this possibility because she would have known first. Meanwhile, Leyre received a message from an anonymous texter offering to help with her situation. When she asked for their identity, the mystery person arranged to meet at the hanging bridge at 2 o'clock. Following the instructions, Leyre went to the location, only to discover that the mystery texter was Hulen. It was revealed that he'd assisted Asier in moving the car the night before. Surprisingly, the teen confessed his romantic feelings to her. However, she disregarded this and later spoke with her son, who revealed they'd left Cosme's car on a random road. Meanwhile, inspectors Andoni and Wanchu found the vehicle with a businessman's body, prompting them to inform Vanessa and Susanna, who excused themselves to talk privately. Upon learning about Cosme's death, the lawyer accused the wife of ending her husband, but she denied it. Aware that inspectors might delve into their dubious business, the women devised a plan to stop them by inviting Andoni to dinner later that night. Meanwhile, Leyre briefed the boys on what to tell the police. The story was that she was supposed to meet Cosme in a diner, but he didn't show up. Asier and Hulen were working on a project, and the latter stayed over for the night. To ensure they understood what she said, Leyre asked them to repeat the plan, but Asier wanted to eat first, leaving his mom and friend alone in the living room. The woman then took the opportunity to speak privately with Hulen. While she thanked him for driving the car, she clarified that his feelings for her weren't real. However, the teenager couldn't focus because he was too busy staring at her legs. He began to zone out, imagining Leyre alluring him. When the teenager returned to reality, he realized he'd released something. Learning this, the disgusted Leyre backed away. However, he only followed her, confessing that he dreamt about her legs every night. Hugging her tight, he asked to be loved back, but the woman broke free from his arms, demanding he stop because she wouldn't love him back. Because of the rejection, the teenager threatened to end his life with Cosme's shotgun, prompting Leyre to stop him. She then looked him in the eyes and admitted that she loved him, but only as a son. In response, the teenager asserted that he desired something more than that. Suddenly, their conversations interrupted when they hear someone arriving. Holding the weapon, the cautious Leyre walked towards the door only to realize that it was her mother, Paki, and caregiver Evelyn. It turned out that the older woman had to move in because her house was flooded. Meanwhile, Vanessa thought about Cosme's cell phone, which contained emails and messages that could get her in trouble. Because of this, she devised a plan with a lawyer. During dinner with Andoni, Susanna brought up his sick father and financial obligations, highlighting his lack of retirement savings. In exchange for cash, the lawyer persuaded Andoni not to delve into Cosme's business affairs and to frame Leyre as the culprit due to a possible motive involving Asier's inheritance. Desperate for money, the inspector agreed to the deal and showed the cash to his dad. At home, Leyre told Paki that she had ended Cosme's life. While the older woman praised her daughter, she reminded her that she'd have to go to confession. The following day, at Cosme's funeral, Leyre encountered Vanessa, who asked her if Cosme had left his phone at their house. However, the woman insisted that his ex didn't show up. When the wife told her she'd manage Cosme's wealth, Leyre reminded her that Asier inherited half of it. Leaving the funeral with her son and Hulen, the woman encountered Wanchu, who brought her to the police station for questioning. There, she fabricated a story, claiming she planned to meet Cosme at a diner while Asier and his friend did their project at home. Shortly after hearing this, Andoni excused himself for a while, leaving Wanchu to continue the interrogation. When he learned Leyre didn't have a full-time job, he questioned why she had expensive shoes when Cosme only paid her for child support. Hearing this, Leyre implied that her ex would give her extra. She revealed they'd still sleep together because his current wife didn't satisfy him in bed. Suddenly, Andoni brought in the taxi driver, who turned out to have reported her when she forgot to pay his fare. However, upon learning that she was the deceased guy's ex-wife, he withdrew his complaint, thinking that perhaps she was just in grief. Andoni then questioned Leyre why she was picked up and brought downtown by the driver at the time of Cosme's demise. He also asked why she'd instructed the actor to improvise in the diner. In response, Leyre fabricated an embarrassing story, presenting it as the truth. The woman claimed she was neither with Cosme nor the actor that afternoon because she was with Hulen, whom she also spent the night with. Shortly after the woman left, the inspectors cornered the actor in the bathroom, demanding that he tell the truth. However, the taxi driver claimed that the woman was her passenger and she asked him to play along with some joke. Hulen browsed Leyre's photos at school instead of listening to the lecturer. Suddenly, the woman called him to inform him that their alibi didn't work out, so she'd change her plan. She told him the new story was that he went to the house to work on a school project with Asier, but they spent the afternoon together in a moment of intimacy. The plan made Hulen happy, but Leyre clarified that it was just a lie they'd tell the inspectors. Hearing this, the teenager insisted that they should really sleep together, arguing that otherwise she was just using him. Offended, he hung up on the woman, prompting her to call him back. Meanwhile, Susanna visited Evelyn and Paki. The lawyer gave her calling card to the caregiver, asking her to notify her if Cosme's phone had been found. Shortly after, Leyre arrived and was surprised to see the guest. Susanna admitted that she was searching their house for the businessman's phone, but at the same time, she was considering offering her legal services. However, Leyre pointed out that she didn't need a lawyer because she wasn't accused of anything. In response, the attorney clarified that she would help her with Asier's inheritance. When the woman asserted that she didn't need her, Susanna gave her a calling card in case she changed her mind. At the police station, Andoni told Wanchu that he didn't believe Leyre's story. When his colleague suggested looking into Cosme's businesses, the detective tried to dissuade him, implying that Leyre was guilty. Following this, the inspectors went to school to question Hulen before his parents. Soon, Wanchu found a morbid illustration in his notebook with Leyre's name, prompting Andoni to ask the teenager if he slept with the older woman. When the teenager couldn't respond, the detectives went to his house and discovered a suspicious suspicious folder they wanted to open. Hulin's mom, Ikerne, threatened her son that he'd be in deep trouble if the accusation were true. The teenager opened the folder, revealing a photo of Leyre in a bathing suit. Searching the room, Andoni found a woman's undergarment. Realizing it was Leyre's, Ikerne was upset and threatened to sue the school, the district, and the city. When the parents took their son out for a private talk, Wanshu told Andoni that Leyre must be innocent because she appeared busy at the time of Cosme's demise. However, while Wanshu was distracted by Hulin's younger brother, Andoni found a burnt cigarette in the trash bin, which he secretly kept in his pocket. Meanwhile, Leyre panicked upon realizing that Cosme's phone was missing. Upon Asier's arrival, she asked him where the device was, but her son informed her that Hulin had been interrogated. Worried, Leyre immediately contacted Hulin, who admitted that he told the cops about their relationship. Hearing their conversation, Ikerne intervened to insult the woman and then threw her son's phone outside the window. That night, as Andoni washed dishes, Wanshu suggested hiring someone to take care of his ill dad so he could have the time to enjoy life. He recommended that Andoni put his dad in a care home and stop paying child support since his ex-wife had a rich husband anyway. However, the detective got offended and asked his friend to leave. After this, Andoni contacted Susanna, ensuring Leyre would be arrested the next day. That night, Hulin climbed up Leyre's window to meet her. He informed her that Ikerne had taken his phone, and his parents didn't know he sneaked out. The teenager then asked her if she loved him, but she only responded that she was flattered by it. Suddenly, Hulin kissed her, prompting her to stop him. Suddenly, the woman came up with an idea. Taking advantage of his feelings for her, she proposed that the plan was to portray Hulin as the perpetrator if the investigation escalated. Hearing this, the teenager promised to cooperate, finally prompting Leyre to sleep with him. In the present, the priest exits his booth, shocked by the story he just heard. The woman then indicates that there's more to tell, but he refuses to listen and recommends that she find another priest. When Leyre questions his commitment to God, the priest asks her to prove her confession is true. In response, the woman removes her sunglasses, revealing her bruised face. Convinced by this evidence, the priest allows her to continue her story. The morning after sleeping with Leyre, Hulin rushed to leave so he could return home without his parents noticing. As he exited the door, the woman had a change of heart and decided to revoke the plan of framing the teenager as the perpetrator. However, Hulin insisted that Leyre was his owner, leading to a shared kiss. Ikerne witnessed this and climbed over the gate to pull her son away and take him home. Suddenly, Asier appeared behind his mom, jokingly asking if his friend was good in bed. In response, Leyre assured him she was doing everything to cover up the truth. Later, her son revealed that Cosme's phone was in a box of wine bottles in the garage. Hearing this, the woman panicked because the movers had taken everything the previous day. To prove Leyre as the perpetrator, Andoni coerced the taxi driver to confess a fabricated story. For his safety, the actor follows the instruction and lies in the police station, stating Leyre paid him $1,000 to help her stage a scene in a diner to create an alibi. When Wanshu asked him about the burnt cig that Andoni found, the actor explained that Leyre rode the taxi with Hulin, who owned it. Because Evelyn couldn't arrive that morning, Leyre took her mom to the moving company to retrieve the box containing Cosme's phone. However, the staff informed her that she couldn't touch anything because the police had sealed the items for the investigation. On her way out, Leyre encountered the mover who took the boxes, only to discover they had taken the one with the wine for themselves. He brought them to a warehouse, where Leyre found many men enjoying the drink. However, when she was about to get Cosme's phone, one of the men got suspicious, thinking she was recording them. The situation worsened when Andoni began to call her, suspecting she was cooperating with the detective. The men panicked upon the arrival of a van outside, leading to a confrontation that ended in them shooting each other. Amidst the chaos, Leyre tried to escape, but she tripped and fell, prompting another goon to point a gun at her. Thankfully, someone saved her by shooting the armed man. Once everyone was unconscious, she took Cosme's phone and left. Meanwhile, Andoni left a voicemail for Leyre to report to the station. At the same time, he picked up Asier and Hulin from school. As he guided them into the police car, their classmates strangely applauded them, and Asier met the gaze of his crush. When Leyre heard the voice message, she turned to Paki, asking her to take care of Asier because she decided to turn herself into the police. Meanwhile, in the interrogation room, Hulin was confused upon being accused that he was in the taxi with Leyre. To clear everything up, Asier tried to confess that he was the one who ended his dad's life. In response, the other teenager tried to take the blame, confusing the inspectors. Due to this, the juvenile prosecutors decided to stop the questioning and handle them further since they were underage. That afternoon, Leyre met Evelyn, asking her to bring Paki home. However, the caregiver became suspicious when she observed Leyre holding Cosme's phone, prompting her to contact Susanna immediately. In the middle of a steamy session with her husband, the lawyer answered the call, learning that Cosme's ex-wife had the item. To stop Leyre from surrendering the phone to the police, Susanna reached out out to her, making her think about the effect of her imprisonment on Asier. She promised to help but urged her to meet later in an abandoned building. Following the call, the attorney devised a plan with Vanessa to eliminate Leyre. Meanwhile, a suspicious Wanshu did a personal investigation, discovering that Andoni urged the actor to fabricate a story. Arriving at the abandoned building, Leyre discovered that Vanessa and Susanna wanted her to write a suicide letter and end her life by overdosing herself in exchange for ensuring that Asier would receive Cosme's inheritance. That night, Wanshu visited Andoni, telling him that he reported him to the judge for falsifying evidence, taking bribes, and collaborating in a murderous act. In response, the guilty detective closed the door on his colleague and took his gun to end his dad and himself. After Leyre took the tablets, Susanna contacted Evelyn. In exchange for money, she tasked her with ending Asier's life and making it appear like a suicidal act. As Leyre awaited her end, Vanessa revealed her plan to claim Asier's inheritance. Realizing this, the woman threw up. In a panic, Vanessa attempted to end the woman's life by pushing her off the building floor. Following Susanna's instructions, Evelyn went to the bedroom and attempted to shoot Asier using Cosme's shotgun. However, the teenager immediately stopped her, leading to a struggle on the floor. The caregiver placed the shotgun on the bed, intending to strangle Asier instead. However, Pocky intervened. She grabbed the shotgun to save her grandson from the woman. Meanwhile, Leyre managed to free herself, sparking a brawl between her and Vanessa. As they fought, they fell to the lower floor together. The woman seized a fire extinguisher and used it on Cosme's current wife. However, Vanessa soon managed to take her belt and use it to strangle her opponent. At that moment, Susanna received a call disclosing that Andoni had taken his own life after his misconduct was uncovered. Because of this, the authorities issued a warrant to arrest Cosme's wife. To save her from trouble, the lawyer considered terminating Vanessa instead, hitting her with a shovel. Finally safe, Leyre used the high heel to ensure the woman's demise. Afterward, Susanna sided with Leyre. When she reported to Wanshu, she told him that Vanessa had ended Cosme's life out of jealousy. She also noted that the businessman's wife bribed Andoni and coerced Leyre into confessing. In the present, Leyre tells the priest she doesn't regret ending Vanessa. She admits that her relationship with Hulen was wrong but emphasizes that she only wanted to protect her son. When the priest considers calling the police, Leyre begs for forgiveness, and he asks her to do 3 Hail Marys. Returning home, Leyre watches Asier, who now has a girlfriend. Suddenly, Hulen asks if she's happy, and she responds by kissing him.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.